Oh, good. And recording. That's good.
Mhm.
Whoops, that's not what I want.
Oh, yes, here it is.
So I still get redirected. I go to the link you give us in your email, and then it always redirects me.
Yeah, mine did that.
Well, it would do for everybody.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I
Ellen,
thought you were special.
no, just mentioning it so Ellen could look to see if she can make sure Peter has the one we end up at.
Did
Well,
you have to do
I thought
anything?
I sent the one that Ellen sent the most recently.
So
Did
what
I
did,
not?
what,
Did I
what
not,
did you-
Ellen?
yeah, what did you have to do to get in?
It said the address you've asked for is redirecting you to this other address. Click
Well,
here to get to
I
this
don't
other.
know, it must be some kind of a glitch that's going on temporarily. It's
I've seen, no,
continue.
it's happened. This particular L&L meeting, it seems to happen every time.
Yes. It directs you, but the other thing they direct you to gets you here easily. Right.
Mine,
Anyway,
mine didn't do that this time. It just went straight there.
I clicked on the link and then it directed me. He said, you are going to thus and so. I didn't even check it. I just clicked on it again. And
Okay,
am.
well, I'll look into it, but I don't think we need to spend a lot of time. You don't have any trouble getting in, so.
we
Right.
don't.
Although some people might say, oops, and not get in. Maybe they don't click on the second link.
Well,
All right.
No.
Can we have a volunteer for a note taker?
Not. As I'm not
Well-
staying the whole time, I won't.
it's recording, so it can be.
Well, I'll try to take notes, see how good I
Thank
do.
you, Margaret.
I'll send the link to the recording, so if you want to.
Okay, thank you. I did that last time. It was helpful.
Will you put your email in the chat so I can
Oh, yes.
write to you directly? Yeah. So did you all see that the writer of the book, the Oppenheimer book, endorses Eleanor Holmes Norton's bill?
Yeah.
I have to say,
Yeah.
Tim and Vicky are amazing.
Right, I don't know.
Well, that was good. That was good. To review the agenda just briefly, jumping into that back from the brink news is good. And actually, that's W2W Coalition News, that particular thing. And then might want to talk about what we're doing locally. Now, I was hoping we would do those things fairly quickly. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about evaluating our strategies and see what we think in terms of, is this working? What, if not, what else should we be doing? And that kind of thing. So then there's time for announcements, and the next meeting, if we stick with the usual schedule, would be the 26th of September. So that we can talk about that, whether people are comfortable with that. So back from the brink, yeah, that was really good news. And also specifically back from the brink, did you see that 11 health journals came out with an editorial about back from the brink, saying, yeah, we ought to do this, and yes, nuclear weapons are a public health crisis that needs to be dealt with, and all of those 11 health journals are going to publish that in their own publications. I was talking to Ira Helfand, and he told me that he had written that. I was pretty excited about it because that's kind of how things started in the 80s. when the doctors and the other health professionals started saying this is a public health crisis and we need to take a look at it. So I thought that was an exciting step forward.
I did not see it. Did you have, did Back from the Brink?
I'm
declare
sure it's
this?
on the Back from the Brink website. I didn't look, but I got it in an email. But
Okay, well, that's good. And are these things like the Lancet, or you
yeah, I
mean
think
they're
so.
actually?
I believe that's correct. Yeah. Let's see if I can get you a link.
So did PSR help with this? I mean, that's
Yeah, and IPPNW.
okay.
So let's see the event.
I'm not sure I know what you guys are talking about.
I'm sorry.
In the meantime, I just dropped into the chat the link for the calls set up for this group, and check and make sure that is the same thing that you used when you had a problem. I just got that from Zoom just now.
Okay. The Conference of Mayors also adopted a resolution in support of HRS 77.
Oh,
Okay.
The reason that I was talking to Ira was because I was urging Back from the Brink to say, well, after you got your representative to sign on to HRS 77, then it would be a good idea to see if we could also get them to support 2775. And Ira was not a fan of that idea, which, I don't know that I convinced him. He certainly did not convince me not to.
Which one was that, Peter? Which one were you?
That's the Warheads to Windmills, the Norton bill.
Yeah,
say it again.
Ira thinks he's got it all built into Back from the Brink, and I've talked to him about it too. And it's some of these people are pretty wedded to their own ideas and don't want to think about other people's stuff, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Well,
Would you,
Ira,
tell-
well, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Margaret.
would you just tell me again what it was? The what to windmills, did you say? What was the number?
Warheads to Windmills. That's Timmons.
Oh,
Timmons
Timmons. Okay, yeah.
thing that's
It's
been
H,
written.
it's
That's been written
HR
into
2775.
right, and that's been written into 2775, so that it's quite different than it has been for the last few times.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
climate change and the TPNW are two, the TPNW first and now climate change are what have been added to the bill. It's been introduced every session since 1994. We call it Proposition 1. And it became a bill because we brought it to the voters in DC in 1993 and won the election. And Eleanor Holmes Norton was a young congresswoman, not so young in age, but young in being congresswoman. And at first she was reluctant to introduce it, but then when she talked to us, she did. And in the beginning, she wasn't all that excited about it. She said, "You do the work. I'll introduce it, but you have to do the work." And but then she got when Beatrice Finn came and visited her and thanked her, she was pretty excited about that. And Timon and Vicky have been really good at getting her really interested in actively promoting the bill, and she's now recognized as the author of the bill, but it was actually the people of DC who authored the bill. Anyway, that's the education. And if you want to learn more about it, Margaret, it's at
Yeah.
prop1.org, PROP number 1.org, and I'm ET at prop1.org. I'll put it
All
in.
right, wait a minute, prop1.org, okay. And I can get the information there.
It doesn't have an S in it. It's wide open.
Well, Ira's argument was that
Yeah.
because it calls for the United States to join the TPNW, regardless of what other countries do, that it leads to a discussion about unilateral disarmament, which
I don't
thought
agree.
was not an argument I agreed with.
I don't agree.
But anyway, that was why he was thinking that that was not such a great idea.
Did you explain to him that that was not the truth?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we went around about it a little bit, but you know, he's been doing this a long time, and he's been right in the thick of it. You know, and I don't think I'm going to change his mind about it, and I don't think he's going to change mine.
Well, you're speaking to him after I spoke to him is good, and maybe if he talks to Timon will speak to him, and different people that he respects will speak to him, and then maybe he'll change his mind. I mean, I got Ralph Hutchison to change his mind, and that took me 10 years.
Anyway, so that's the back from the brink news that I thought was important. Timon would probably have more stuff if he were here, but he's not. So, any 2775 news? I think we might have gotten one more.
Yeah, I think we got one more. I'll look it up. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
In just a second.
Right. So, locally, we've been pretty active lately, and perhaps the rest of you have too. So let's hear a little bit about what's been going on in your local areas.
What's going on in our local areas now,
or about to, you know, stuff that you'd like to share.
Yeah, we're going to be dealing with HR 2775, needless to say, because I'm not sure how many people know about it. So our little peace group is going to get together and talk about how to get the news out about this wonderful House resolution.
Okay. Cheryl, I know you've been doing some stuff.
Well, mostly, you know, we tackled it from the Oppenheimer film point of view. I sent you all the flyer that we developed. Just let's see. Ellen has just put up the list from the congressional website of co-sponsors. So
the two since the last time we met are Jan Schakowsky from Chicago and Shri Thanadar from Michigan. And
okay.
Barbara Lee signed on. I thought Barbara Lee signed on at the beginning, but she didn't, did she? She waited to July.
And so she's, oh, there she is, yes. Mm-hmm.
But brave woman, she's running for Senate, and she's signed on. If she gets elected, I think she might actually introduce it. Wouldn't that be great?
Right. I mean, I'm not in her constituency, but I'm close, so I'm certainly.
Well, if she's running for Senate, it'll be statewide.
Oh, it doesn't matter, right? Of course, yes, statewide. No, I'll be voting for her when I get the chance. Anyway, so yes, so we so all of Wilf was, and you all got my Oppenheimer flyer that we asked people to hand out at cinemas that were showing the film, and people have been doing that, and some, you know, I've also hand them out to anybody when we do our weekly vigil, especially young people who walk by. I ask them if they've seen the film, most of them have. And I said, then I'd like you to read this flyer, please, that explains what's happened since 1945, because all you see about is 3 bombs. I said, and there's the 13,000 out there, all of them much stronger, much more destructive, the ones you heard about in the film. And here's, please take the folder home, read it. There's various legislation that, we're trying to reduce this risk. So I believe that, here's a picture of it. And the lady on the left there, you see the photograph, she is Hibakusha, a survivor of the Hiroshima bomb. She's now 89 years old. She's been living in Oregon for some decades, I believe. She came over here to be educated, I suppose, when she was a young woman, and got married to an American. I think she never went back, right, Ellen? Not to live.
She did briefly, yeah.
Briefly, okay. So she appeared in the other film, the documentary that came out on MSNBC that was shown like the week before Oppenheimer feature film opened up. And so we put QR codes. This is actually an old flyer we've updated. And so it has QR codes for those young people who like to have their iPhone camera look at the QR code. That takes you to a clip from the documentary with Hideko.
Can you send us all copies of this?
I did send you.
I'll put the link to this in the chat, and you can get it anytime.
You have it on your Prop 1.
And Cheryl,
you see that up there, prop1.org.
Yeah. We never put it on.
If you go to Prop 1, this is what it looks like, and you scroll down past the bill and you see other resources. This is Let's End the Whole Nuclear Era. This is the warheads to windmills.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
prop1.org is cool. Okay.
That is Ellen's website that she's been maintaining for some
ever since websites
decades.
began,
right. So anyway, this is, our effort, Wilf's effort to educate the general public about the scourge of nuclear weapons and the need to get rid of them. And we ask, we give them the congressional hotline, the congressional number, and I actually did that. That really does work. You phone, a polite person answers the phone, and you say, I'd like to, be connected to Anna Eshu's office, and off you go. And then, of course, you usually end up with a voicemail, but you can always leave a voicemail for your congressperson. We hear from them that if they heard from 10 people about something, they would pay attention to it, 10 or more. So that's why of course, we get our branches. We have many branches throughout the country. Try to get multiple people call their congressional representative. So that's so this flyer will now last. It's got a lot of information that's pertinent to nuclear weapons and the TPNW in particular. So that's what I've got to say. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, well, we're going to be in September. Our peace group is showing the documentary, the MSNBC documentary, and we've been handing out flyers, and we have handed out some flyers. Not yours. I don't know that we copied yours. I sent it out there, but I can't say that we did as much with it as we should, which I have to call attention to it again and see that we can. There was some handing out at the showing of the movie, but not too organized. What we've been working on in the summer, we had the Golden Rule peace vote, and we had quite a few people. I mean, we had, well, I think it might have been 100 people that came out for the event that we had to greet the peace boat. And so that was a big event. And then we also did for Nagasaki Day, we had a procession and a little event after the procession. So, and we've also been meeting with our legislators. Actually, we met with the representative from our congressman who was a MAGA Republican. He was supposed to get back to us. I mean, he was very polite and very nice and listened, but he never got back to us. There was a really good letter in the paper about the questions that he would like to ask, very good questions to ask of this representative, such a, just really the important ones about where he stands and how he voted and so on and so forth. But we don't hear back, but we keep pursuing our elected officials. And it seems to me, I should have looked it up, but the mayor has endorsed House 77. And our mayor, of course, has endorsed Back from the Brink, and the city council has endorsed it. And a lot of our elected officials, to our state senators, and all but one of our state representatives has endorsed Back from the Brink. So we continue to work on that. And
can you remind us where you are, Margaret?
Syracuse. Yeah, Syracuse, New York, Central New York.
Who's your representative?
Brandon Williams. He it was most unfortunate that he shouldn't have won, but the Democrats, they're always shooting themselves in the foot. It's just really so unfortunate. And the candidate was not, he just was, I mean, he sounded good and he was progressive, but he just wasn't a good campaigner. But we're going to work hard for the next one. So
good luck.
Yeah, it's very fun. This is one of the seats that nationally they're hoping it's one of the important ones they think they can flip. So
that's good.
Yeah, we're working on that.
In North Carolina, they keep gerrymandering. We haven't been able to get a Democratic representative here since I've been here, since 2009, because they keep changing the borders. Asheville would go Democratic, and and part of Asheville has got somebody good, but another part of it doesn't, and I'm in that part, so I'm an hour away. So yeah, it's frustrating.
It's a problem with us too. And then they changed right before the election. They had a court case about the gerrymandering, and then they changed it, and so people were in a whole new district where they had to campaign. It's a mess, and it's still continuing to be a mess. It's just in the paper now about they haven't decided about what the district lines are going to be. And the Republicans gerrymandered it last time. They were able to do it because the Democrats had done it before. So it's a really shaky democracy.
Well, our district was redrawn, and we're getting a person who we used to have, and he's pretty good. I think we're going to try and talk to him about supporting the TPNW.
Yeah.
And
where are you, Judy?
We'll say yes, but we'll see.
Where are you, Judy?
Pardon?
Where are you?
I'm in California.
Davis, near Sacramento.
No, Davis.
No, not Davis, which is near Sacramento.
Oh yeah, of course.
Helps people.
We're not part of Sacramento.
Not the same
we're Yolo County.
representative.
Pardon?
Right.
Not the same representative.
Correct. But I think there's hope.
Well, if you're through, Margaret,
Yeah, oh, yes, sorry, yeah.
here in Salem, we've been actually having quite a lot of activity, which I'm pleased with. We did get a kind of a hybrid meeting with Andrea Salinas, who's our new representative. This is a new district now because after the census, we got a sixth congressional district, and so we elected her to it. And she campaigned as a progressive. She had been a progressive state legislator, and a lot of us backed her, and she won. And she has now, as a result of our contacting her, endorsed HRS 77, but we have not gotten her to do 2775 yet. So we're working on that. It's conceivably going to be helpful, but not necessarily, that her district representative is our neighbor about 3 doors down. So we can have access to him. How much access that's going to give us to her, I'm not sure.
What's your relationship with him?
Oh, we've been friends for a long time.
Well, that helps.
He used to work for Senator Wyden, and I guess he got tired of that, which I can well understand. And now he's working for her.
What's
Anyway,
what's her name?
Andrea Salinas, Salinas.
Nas, yeah.
Yeah.
Is she
And
Latina?
is she what?
Latinx?
Yeah, she identifies that way. She doesn't look that way, but she identifies that way and has that background. Anyway, the best attended event that takes place in the year in Salem, the public event, is the Salem Art Fair. And so we tabled at the Salem Art Fair and got quite a few signatures on one of 2 petitions that we're doing. One of them is directly to Salinas, asking her to support 2775. The other is a more general one that we've been using. Anyway, we tabled there for 2 of the 3 days, and I thought the response was pretty good. I would walk up to people and say, we're talking to people today about abolishing nuclear weapons. Do you think that's a good idea? And almost everybody that I talked to said, well, yeah, that's a good idea. And then some people would say, yeah, but it'll never happen. But if they say that, then that's a great opportunity to talk to them about having talked to, having approached Salinas and having gotten her to say yes to HRS 77. So that's, I think we did some good educational work there, and it was good. And then they had a Hiroshima Nagasaki Day observation on the 5th of August down in Corvallis, which is about 40 miles from here to the southwest. We went down and tabled there, and it was kind of like old home week. I was meeting a lot of people that I've worked with over the years. It was pretty fun to be there. And their mayor is actually one of them. So that's pretty nice to have. And he's a supporter. And what they've done down there is they went to their city council about 6 months ago or 9 months ago, and convinced the city council to divest the city funds from any kind of military investment, which I think might be a first or close to a first for a town in the United States. So that's a pretty exciting thing to have happened. The next day we had a small Hiroshima and Nagasaki observance here in Salem, and we tabled at that as well.
Was that Corvallis that divested?
Corvallis, yeah.
Corvallis divested, okay.
Yeah. Is there a news story about that?
There must be.
When did this happen?
like I say, about 9 months ago, I'm guessing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that was good. And then we did there's an all independent movie theater here in Salem, and they were showing Oppenheimer, and we talked to the woman who runs it, who's been a progressive in her past, and so she agreed to have the flyers and all of our materials in the lobby of the theater for the entire run, which is still going on. So everybody that comes into the theater to see the film can see that. We've got a big abolish nuclear weapons sign that's sitting up there. So yeah, I thought that was a plus. The night that I went to see it, I tabled there, and one other person has done that. And I don't think we got to many more people than would have been would have seen the table anyway. Hello, Rosalie. You're a new person here. It's good to see a new face. Okay.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
I'm
there you go.
joining late.
There you go.
Let's go on. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's this one. Do you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now that guy, Ed Epley, started a peace vigil in Corvallis, and they were out there every day for years and years. I think he started it when we invaded Iraq, and he's been and he passed away last year, but that thing has been going on and on and on and on. Might be once a week, but I thought it was every day. Anyway, he was somebody that I worked with over the years. Yeah, that's a good story there. Anyway, so then the upcoming thing that we're doing, which I think is pretty cool, is that we found out that there's a nuclear weapons contractor not very far from where we are, between here and Portland, and they're called Collins Aerospace, and they're owned by Raytheon, which is now called RTX Technologies or something like that. They're changing their name, I guess. Anyway, they're making nuclear weapons up there. So we decided, well, we're going to do some kind of an action, and we will start that campaign. That'll be a campaign. It won't be a one-off thing. And we will hold a nonviolence training on the 23rd of September to prepare people for a campaign against that contractor. What we're going to call for, we haven't yet decided, and exactly what the shape of the demonstration is, but we have set up the nonviolence training, and so that's something that we're focusing on right now. So a lot of cool things happening here.
Really?
For a small group. Yeah.
Impressive.
Rosalie, what's going on in your neighborhood?
Actually, I'm in the hinterlands of Michigan and nothing happens up here. But when I will return to Chicago in mid-October, and I hope to be involved again. We passed the Evanston anti-nuclear resolution, and Chicago City Council did as well. And I'm hoping we can get some street action started, because there's been a lot in Chicago, and there should be again. So
Right.
I'll try that when I get home.
Good. All right. Well, we'll be interested in hearing what develops there. So does anybody else have a local report? Hearing none.
I do,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Go ahead, Ellen.
It's nice to have a report to give. This is, oops. Where is it?
Oh, it was there.
There it is. I don't know how to get this to close, but anyway, you can see. This was Asheville, on Hiroshima Day. And, they had really good signs. As you can see, there I am with my
Yeah.
ban nuclear weapons sign. So there's a bunch of them. I can go through them really quickly if you like. Here we go. And of course, I had my petition there and handed out flyers. That guy's got a snake around his neck.
Hmm. So he does.
He was very interested in what we were saying. You can see he's holding my flyer there.
Hey,
I got into the snake.
hey,
That's a boa constrictor, isn't it?
Yeah. Look at this one. Isn't that great?
great, yeah.
Yeah. I love that one. Love it.
Of extinction. Mhm.
Well, very good.
How do these people get these signs? Where do you?
I took photographs. What
You mean
no, no,
where
signs? No,
they
they made them.
They're all handmade.
They actually made them themselves. Wow, I'm
Yeah.
impressed. I'm impressed.
And this is
So-
a flyer that somebody was handing out. There she is. She
Hmm.
couldn't hear. Delightful woman. And there we are. Okay,
Good.
that's
my report.
So if you want somebody to help you make signs, diffusenuclearwar.org has an arrangement that they will provide you with signs at your local Federal Express, Kinko's, whatever outlet. You write to them and say, I need 50 of your no more nukes signs, yellow signs, plasticized, and please have them made at this street, this company at this street, and tell me when they're ready. And they pay for them, and they're delivered. They're made and delivered at your local place. So Diffuse Nuclear War,
They
which
pay
is
for
actually, pardon?
They pay for them?
Yeah. I
They're
got
cl-
$200 worth of signs for the last Diffuse Nuclear War efforts, and I keep using them because they're slightly plasticized, so they're quite tough and they last.
The group is
And
called Diffuse Nuclear War.
diffusenuclearwar.org. Norman Solomon is leading this,
Would you
and
put that in the chat?
yes, and then then I have to go to my other meeting. So here in Northern California, we're gearing up for the peace in
That's neat.
Ukraine.
I'd like to take advantage of that.
Yeah, the
Yeah, me
peace in
too.
Ukraine.
I thought of something else.
Okay, well, let's
There
And then I'm
were
gonna
a
go.
group
Let-
of people
Rosalie, let's let
arrested
Cheryl
in
finish because she has
Germany
to go.
last week protesting
Rosalie, let's
nuclear
let
weapons.
Cheryl
and
finish so she can go.
forgot the name of it. They just got
Okay, Cheryl, say what you're going to say.
Okay, so the Peace in Ukraine Coalition has this global 10 days of action, September the 30th to October the 8th. And here in Northern California, there's a group trying to arrange for particular things like standing outside BlackRock headquarters here in San Francisco and demonstrating against them. They're just getting into Ukraine. You will have seen it in the news. They're going to help Ukraine and make a lot of money, of course. Anyway, so this group has this meeting that's already started, and I said I'd go so I could get some Wilf branches involved in Northern California. So anyway, diffusenuclearwar.org is the website of
Got
that
it.
organization that
And you
has
get the
been
post-
going now for about, I don't know, a year. So
And they will get free posters. Wow.
they'll
Okay.
go in there, look at it, see their resource materials, and see. You
Right.
have to write to somebody and politely tell them, send me, I'd like this many. This is my local Federal Express company, right down to the address, so that they can actually order them to be there for you to pick up.
Oh, got you. Got you.
All
Well, I'll
right.
see if I have questions, I can always get
Well,
back to you. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I can't stay for your evaluation, Peter. But Ellen knows what we are trying to do, thinking of doing within Wolf. We've been having meetings about regenerating the peace movement, and Ellen will fill you in on that. Thank you, everybody. Gotta go.
Good
Bye-bye.
to see you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye. I'm going to save the chat. Okay.
Okay, Rosalie, you want to pick up?
She doesn't hear you, I think.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
muted.
you're muted. You're
You're
muted.
muted.
You're muted.
What I wanted to say is that a small group of US people were arrested at Buchel, Buchel Air Force Base in Germany last week. They did a very brief or a very simple cross the line action and were just detained for a few hours protesting our NATO presence and all the nuclear weapons that NATO and our group has. They've been doing that for years. I've been there, I've done that, but that was years ago, and I can no longer travel in that way. But there have been lots of protests there over the years, including some that I've written about, but they've been good. So I did want to report that, although I didn't really have anything to do with it this year.
What has been the media response to that?
Well, I think National Catholic Reporter might have written it up. I have a few things. National Catholic Reporter, I know, the nuclearresistor.org wrote it up.
Oh, sure.
I'll try to find that and put it in the chat.
I was talking about the mainstream media.
I just put in the chat where you can go to find their signs and banners, and there's a thing here that says Defuse Nuclear War will print signs for your group action. Contact Ryan at rootsaction.org for more information. So this is a rootsaction.org campaign.
Yeah. That would be Ryan Black.
Yeah, and I put the link in there to the page that quote comes from, along with pictures of the various signs and banners. So
thank you, Ellen.
You're welcome.
Okay, so moving along, I wanted us to take a look at what we've been doing and ask ourselves, is it working? What is working? And if something is not working, what can we do that will work? Dead silence.
Well, what's not working is that we're not getting Ira and others to take the bill seriously. That's in my estimation is they're not talking about it. They're talking about getting rid of nuclear weapons, but they just don't show any respect for the bill, and I just don't understand it. Never have understood it.
Yeah, and that kind of brings up the whole question of whether the whole congressional strategy is working. Because
what we used to say was, if you're not getting any results from your representative, then bring a voter initiative. Like we did,
yes, so in other words,
or a
something
referendum.
at the grassroots, uh, because I think we consistently look for leadership to come from Congress, but that isn't really their job to provide leadership. I mean, we like to call them leaders, but they're not. Their official name is representatives, and so they're supposed to represent their constituency. Of course, we know that they represent the corporate elite quite a lot, but to the extent that we can do anything at all to change their position on something, we've got to have a large movement. We've got to have a lot of constituents behind us in order to get their attention. And so far, in most areas, we don't have that. And when we did have that in the 1980s, we did get Congress to take action, and we did get the president to take action. And we were able to take a president who came into office saying the bombing starts in 5 minutes and joking about it. And by the end of his 8 years, he was making the agreement with Gorbachev to pull the Euro missiles out. And shortly after that, we were able to end the testing of nuclear weapons through congressional action. So there's some evidence that if we get the public behind us, we can make some changes. But I don't think we can affect Congress without that, which is why I keep talking about building the movement.
Well, voter initiatives are a good way to do it because people are willing to go out for a short period of time and collect signatures on petitions. And if somebody says, oh, I don't believe in that, you say, well, then don't vote for it, but at least let us have a chance to vote.
Mm-hmm, right.
And that worked. It worked. And if you do it, make sure that you make sure that it's very clear what people write down, and then you arrange with the Board of Elections to check their decisions to make sure that they didn't make any mistakes, and they have to let you do that.
So are you talking about a citywide initiative or a statewide?
Well, whatever you're allowed. Citywide is easiest.
Right.
Statewide is expensive and
Right.
hard to organize. But if you get it going in one city or county, or if you have a sympathetic representative who will, or whatever, who will introduce it as a referendum if you don't have initiatives, then it becomes interesting, newspapers write about it and people talk about it, and it's energizing and it's exciting, and it's a great way to organize. Great way.
I agree. I think that's a great idea. We've had a couple of new people join us. Holly, we see you, and
Hello.
iPhone 2, I'm not sure who you are.
That's Susan, isn't it?
Do you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Susan.
tried to join on at 6:30 by phone, and it said that the host
Yeah, it's Susan.
the meeting was over.
Oh,
And so I've been driving for that was like a little like 6:35. I tried to join on, And then I just got home and I thought, oh, before I go in my house, I'll try again. And so, Peter, I sent you a message saying, so what is happening
Well, fortunately, we're
with
recording.
this meeting? Is it still on? Oh, okay.
Saying, saying
Hello. Hi.
you broke up, Susan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm now on. When did the meeting start?
The usual time, 3 o'clock here. It would be 6:30 or 6 o'clock here.
No,
I'm sorry, 3:30 here. It would have been 6:30 at your
Right.
where you were.
Well, for some reason my telephone said others.
Well,
I
I'll
couldn't-
send you the
Okay,
link.
anyway,
I'll send you the link to the meeting and you can watch it.
okay.
And Peter, shouldn't we ask her what we've been doing is talking about what we've been doing since we met last and
Yeah, we had some reports, but we were in the middle of another topic. So let's continue with that for a moment and then come back to the report. So Susan and Holly, we're talking about evaluating our strategy. Okay. Evaluating our strategies and asking ourselves what's working and what isn't. And we were talking about the fact that we don't, hi Holly, that we don't appear to be that the congressional strategy does not seem to be working. And I was saying that I thought it was because we don't have enough support out in the grassroots yet.
and I
Well-
was suggesting that people might consider doing voter initiatives like we did in DC and got it on the ballot, and it ended up being introduced into Congress and way back when. Because it's a good way to organize.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
were talking here's some talking about, if we're talking about congressional stuff, we're trying to get people or Senate or senators to do a Senate version of HRS 77. And we've been doing carding, leafleting outside. That's where I was, outside of theaters that are showing Oppenheimer.
Right.
And collecting those cards and mailing them in, or just sometimes giving out the cards to our senators. We started, we actually use other group starting the Greater Boston Physicians for Social Responsibility started a petition by congressional districts to get people to sign on, rather than just having us go to, the well-known people go to congressional offices, but having lots of people sign on to something that requests them to sign on to HRS 77. That's not the Norton bill, but in the literature that we hand out, the flyer that we hand out, we also talk about the Norton bill. We do both. So, at least that's spreading information to people who don't necessarily, who are not necessarily activists, but it's something. And it's requesting that, they ask their congressperson to support HRS 77 or the Norton bill. And the Norton bill both.
So MAPA is doing a lot of different kinds of things. They're working on a congressional strategy. They're also working on a very extensive education strategy. And I don't know whether you're doing other things as well.
Well, we're working with Warheads to Windmills, both
Okay.
on a state basis, on a statewide coalition, and the national coalition.
Oh yeah, you're working on that commission idea of getting that in the legislature, right?
On a statewide basis, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then nationally, we're working to, to support Eleanor Holmes' bill, but it's also educating people. And the Warheads to Windmills is on both state and national, really geared toward making that connection between nuclear weapons and climate.
So how well do you think it's working, each one of those strategies?
I think we're getting some more climate groups to come together. I mean, MAPA itself has developed these campaigns, and one of the campaigns is twin threats.
Mm-hmm.
And that ties into the connection, and however it is, so that's bringing young people who are more open to voting, are not swayed by the propaganda that's out there, and who tend to be more connected to environmental issues, to have that connected to the nuclear weapon stuff. So, talking with Extinction Rebellion, getting them, and Sierra Club, 350 Mass. We don't have 350 National, but Timon is working on that. And I know Holly your group has signed on.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Holly a little bit then.
Okay. Well, Genesee Valley Citizens for Peace, we did sign on to the Warheads to Windmills Coalition, so we're a part of that. And there are 3 of our core group that are kind of taking turns attending those meetings. We're also members of Peace Action New York State, and along with, we call it panties for short, we've met with Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, and Representative Morelli. I've written ad nauseum to Claudia Tenney, and it's pretty pointless. She every letter of response that she sends me, she talks about her son in the Marines. But we've recently gotten some really good press. When the Golden Rule visited, I was on like a WXXI radio station broadcast with Veterans for Peace and some of the crew members, and got to talk about both HRS 77 and HR 2775, the Eleanor Holmes Norton bill. So I spoke about both of those things. And also at our most recent Hiroshima and Nagasaki vigil. It was our 49th annual vigil. Obviously, I was not at all of those, but I've been at the past at least 15. We also had news coverage from Channel 8 News and also from our local newspaper. And we had extensive coverage from both of them, and also, spotlight on those two pieces of legislation. So
I saw that. That was wonderful. That was so impressive.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been putting it out there, and it's also gone out to our membership, and, and people are interested. And I sent out something that nuclearban.us shared about warheads to windmills, and I'm going to send it to our membership with the link that nuclearban.us has for writing your congressperson. So I sent it out to our core group, which is like really the working group, and then with their input, then send things out to our entire membership, which is at least a couple hundred. I don't know the exact number at this point. It's somewhere between 200 and 300. The drawback is that you send too many emails out to a membership, and then you start to get the unsubscribed memos, because people don't like getting too much email. So it's hard, but I think that we're doing, as a small group, what we can to make noise and bring attention to it. We're planning our International Day of Peace event, we work as allies with Geneseo Peace Action, which is a undergraduate student group through our local university. And once the students are back, we'll start planning actions with them as well. So I don't know. I mean, how much we are actually moving members of Congress, I don't know. I don't have that answer, but that's what we've been doing.
That's so good. I'm very
Sounds like
impressed.
a lot.
We have
Thank
not
you.
been successful in getting media coverage, even though we send out. It makes me think, Holly, we in Syracuse should really, we've been talking about meeting again with the media to really press on them, and you inspire me to do that.
Oh, good. Yeah. We have good relations with our local newspaper, and it also has an online version. And so we've had really good. We were in that paper 2 weeks in a row, which was pretty cool. And then, having the actual news stations coming out was pretty significant. But the thing is, what the News 8 guy spent, I swear, an hour talking to one of our members, my husband, and of course what gets on is just this little clip, but it's still, it gets on. So I don't know. And we did just, gain a new member, so I'm thinking, well, somebody's paying attention somewhere. I think all we can do is just keep pushing. I don't know what else to do.
Well, Margaret brings up a good point about the media, and it's great if you have a friendly medium in your town. In my town, we barely have a newspaper anymore. The newspaper we have is it's a Gannett newspaper, and it's almost gone.
Well,
But
what I think
we
is
have
that we have to do something dramatic in order to get a news item, because they're so wrapped up in the whole Republican Democrat kind of thing and all that Trumpism. And I think you have to do something to get their attention. A lockdown is a great attention getter, but you need some people to be able to do that and to be able to risk arrest.
Yeah.
And that's probably
I was
getting
gonna
pretty
suggest-
hard to do because it's just not in fashion now as it used to be.
What I was going to suggest in areas like mine or in Margaret's, where you don't have a friendly medium, is there's a lot of capacity to be our own media these days in ways that we didn't used to have back in the 80s. And so taking advantage of Facebook, Twitter, and all the other
Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, and
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn, and all those
yeah.
is a great way of getting a message out at almost zero cost, and nobody can stop you.
Right.
So if you can think of, as Rosalie was saying, if you've got a hook of some kind, whether it be getting arrested or whether it be something else, if you've got a hook, you can get a following, and that I think is something that we need to take a lot more advantage of than we have been, because most of us are older and we don't know how to do it.
And this is the
I-
thing. Oh, sorry.
Wait a
Well,
minute.
I've
Rosalie.
written 2 books about how to do it.
Rosalie, please raise your hand.
One is called Doing Time for Peace,
She can't hear me.
Resistance, Family and Community. And it's published by Vanderbilt. And the second is Crossing the Line, Nonviolent Resistors Speak Out for Peace. And it shows all sorts of actions that happened in the 19th century and early 20th century that were arrestable actions and people who went to jail. But people have to really be committed to doing that. And I've got to say that older people who aren't so attached to taking care of people, it's easier for them, actually. So think about that.
I feel very fortunate that the peace columns I write and the peace letters I write do get published in our newspaper. Our local newspaper is very good at that. So I'm lucky, I guess, from what I'm hearing today.
All right.
Yeah, we do have letters published in the paper. Our paper is shrinking. That's one of the problems, is they don't have enough reporters to cover the events. It's not that they wouldn't, but also another thing I want to mention, this summer we had some summer interns, terrific young people who were so good with the Golden Rule Peace Boat, and they put so much stuff out there. They had a whole strategy for attention getting things on Facebook and Twitter and all of these things, and they were just great. And the thing is, if we could just get, and this has been as long as ever I have been active, trying to get young people who will be able to do this and could be our media person. So far we've just had sporadic help this way, because people don't know how to do it. And
Yes, yep.
yeah, so how do we get, we have we do have a college, Lemoyne College, and they have a chapter of peace action of our Nuclear Free World Committee, and they've been very involved. Of course, they're going to be graduating now, and this is the big problem, to sustain it. And I think this is what maybe we can, I don't know what we can do. We could strategize, see how we can really enlist young people and to be able to pass it on. I think that's what it was in the 80s, Peter, right? That young people were really committed. Well, I'm sorry, I'm saying all the things you all know, and, but I think it's a big problem.
Well, in the 80s, I was 40 years younger, and I got arrested a lot. we, we got a lot of things. We got some things done. Yeah, I mean, we stopped nuclear weapons testing for one thing. But one of the things that I noticed about that was that when I was one of the original founders of the American Peace Test, which brought lots of people out to the Nevada test site to do civil resistance for many years. And one of the things I noticed about that was when I started, I thought that we would achieve our goal by getting in the way of the Nevada test site to the extent that they couldn't continue. And what I came to realize is, no, that wasn't how it worked. How it worked was that people came out to the Nevada test site, got lit on fire by the experience of going up against the place where just over the hill they were actually exploding these bombs, and then they went back into their local communities, lit on fire by that, and did the hard, direct action organizing work of getting the public educated and then ready to take some kind of action, to the point where then the legislators started looking at it and saying, oh, we've got people in our community who are really concerned about this. In fact, they're fired up. In fact, some of them have said they won't even vote for me if I don't do something about this. And then we got to see some action. So I think we have to realize that the key is the local organizing work, and whether it's driven by direct action, which involves getting arrested, or whether it's driven by something else, that's where the key is.
Oh.
Go ahead, Susan.
So we had an executive committee meeting today, which I did partially by phone. Not very successfully, I must admit. But part of what I heard was we were talking about endorsements, and part of the discussion ended up being that in a way it's too early, but that also what we should be doing is engaging with groups, very specifically youth, and groups, to get them to ask those questions and push on those issues that we feel are important. Because just asking, going to the campaign committees of candidates are not really going to listen to us, but we may be able to influence new voters. We also talked about, as I'm sure you all have been talking about, that in some ways it's tricky because our usual group of, the people who we target are liberal Democrats, and those liberal Democrats, at least in terms of Ukraine, are sort of lock, step, and barrel with the Biden administration and sending more weapons and not negotiating. And it's some Republicans who have come out for negotiation and not sending weapons. So it's very tricky. Anyway, just throwing that out.
Yeah.
And also to say that we, in my hometown, in Newton, Massachusetts, we don't have a newspaper.
Well, I think
anymore.
Hang on, Rosalie. Somebody else is speaking. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, no, I was just saying that in my town, we don't have a newspaper anymore. Also, Gannett.
Yeah,
closed down, but there is an online version, but it's very hard to get anything political in there. It's very geared to, somebody's dog peed
right.
on the lawn, that, but I'm sorry, go on.
Go ahead, Rosalie.
We're in a really bad place now because the communication is so splintered and polarized. I mean, there are thousands of websites that we don't even know about that the far right is exploiting. And our US Congress and both Senate and House of Representatives are so divided that they only work on what they have any hope of passing, and the Democrats are weak-willed, let's face it. And I think nationally, I think we can maybe do something for individual representatives. Like, we're lucky in Chicago, as we have good senators and representatives, but our Chicago as a whole is probably as divided as anybody else, So we're in a lot different place than we were in the 80s when Peter and all these people were getting arrested and we were running all around and crossing lines and everything. And it's just a whole new world. And so I think we have to just keep working at whatever we can do and trying to make it bigger. Start little, I don't do social media very well, but if you do social media, that is where people are, and X, and I don't know, all that stuff.
Find the young people to do it for you. Yes, I liked that idea a lot. Somebody mentioned that. I think that's a great idea. Try and band the young people who know how to use social media.
Well, if you can tell
I
me
agree.
how to find them, I'd really appreciate it.
Pardon?
If you're not part of a university town, it's kind of hard to find them. The high school.
Well, I'm involved with, I'm close to Northwestern, but Northwestern has not been tremendously active ever. And we're going to look for people, but we don't see any people joining us in our Evanston protests. We don't see young people.
No.
Okay.
We have to join them doing something, and
Yes,
and
that's it.
drop seeds among them and see what happens. Talk to them but pay
In the
attention
events
to what they're
you're talking
doing.
about, even events that are not connected to peace.
That's one of the things that I said I would do in the Twin Threats campaign, that when school starts, colleges start, I would go to their, because I'm sure they all have environmental clubs, and go to their meetings and say who I am, but listen to them and not insert myself, but just, announce, this is who I am, and, my organization, and I've just come to listen, and then see what happens, and then see if, there's a way to ask a question that would at least allow an opening. And then also, to go to the protests. Well, we do have lots of colleges around, so that Ellen, right, I hear what you're saying, and we are lucky with all these colleges, and some of them do have demonstrations about the corporations that are trying to get in to the colleges. So we join those protests. So in a way, it's joining them however we can. So one is just, going to a meeting that, anyway, I guess I've said it.
Hmm.
Thank you.
I don't know how to do TikTok, Peter.
Either.
Well, I'm still diddling around with that. I'm still looking for the face of our TikTok thing, but you know, one of the people that's doing a good job of that is Emma Pike. If you look up her, she's done a number of
Yeah.
videos that are getting quite a
Are
few
they?
views,
Yeah,
and
I saw some.
I'm impressed with her, and it's on my list to contact her and say,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of scripts that you might be interested in using,
Okay.
because I think she's going in a really good direction, way better direction than the woman who used to work for ICANN and was doing it, which I thought was pretty lame. But Emma's got some good stuff out there.
What's her name? Emma Pike?
Emma Pike.
Emma Pike. She worked for well, the Warheads to Windmills, the nuclearband.us.
Exactly. And
then she
before
went
that,
to ICANN, right?
Oh, really?
is she from?
You know what I would
I
do?
think she went to IPPNW.
Oh, IPPN. Okay.
No,
Nope.
not that
No.
one. Look it up under nuclear ban. Put nuclear ban up there where you've got Emma Pike.
Nuclearband.us.
Wow.
Okay, and yeah,
And
and I think you might need to put her name in there too.
She's a lovely person. She also she worked on this whole booklet that we did, which was absolutely inclusive, when we were doing the commission bill last year.
yeah,
A bright, talented, smart, lovely woman.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's got some stuff up there that's, I think a little bit on the frivolous side, but
You
she's got
know.
some really good stuff too.
Who is it that did that one
Oh, the Snake River.
video?
The Snake
I
River.
would like to
Yes,
say
yes.
Yeah,
something.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
that. Yeah.
that was
That one was awesome.
what's her name? Oh gosh.
The Snake River.
River Alliance.
Yeah, Snake River was. Yeah, we used that. I asked to use that in the beginning of this national conference that we did.
Hmm.
That it was just so good.
Yeah.
No, it was a video. It
Oh.
was to Bob Dylan's song.
Yeah.
oh,
Hmm.
Subterranean homesick.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yes. Yes.
You know,
Why?
there's something else that
I
I
would
like.
like to make a suggestion.
Go ahead.
If I went to any college climate meeting, and I hope to go to Northwestern when I'm back in Evanston, I would bring a sign. I would make a sign or get a sign that says, a nuclear disaster is the ultimate climate disaster. Because let's face it, if a
Mhm.
nuclear bomb drops, we've had it.
Yeah.
you don't even need a
It's much
disaster.
more
You just-
serious
you-
than
Yeah.
factory farms and all those horrible things.
And
It's a fine line between.
So I think we need to try to shock people.
It's a fine line when you're talking with young
And
people.
that's,
You go to their meeting to
I
impose.
think it's so hard to get young people to listen to some 86-year-old. But a sign might make them think. I don't know. That's me.
I have to leave. I have another meeting. I just want to thank everybody. I've taken copious notes and we'll use them to help our peace group do better between now and the next meeting. So thank you all very much for all these ideas. I really appreciate it. And we'll
I
see
just
you-
want
Great,
I just
Judy.
want- Can I just say that Vicky Elson did a wonderful, very short video that I like to use, and I don't know if you've seen it. And she updated it.
Can you
What was
send out an email that has a
Yeah,
link?
Vicky Elson did it. And it just encapsulates everything. It's the nuclear side and the climate side, and then also what we can do about it, which
Can you
was
send it out? Send it out to all of us?
yeah, I'll try.
Thank you. That'd be great. Thank you all.
Okay, so here is on the screen is some of Emma's TikToks, and
Oh.
this one here is particularly good. I think you probably can't hear it, but it's pretty good. And
We can't hear it.
no, you can't hear it,
No.
but
No.
the printing is telling you what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got to go also.
Okay, where was the chat again so I can save it?
If you go down to the bottom of the chat box,
Is this the chat where this is in right now? Oh, okay, wait.
go down to
Oh,
the
all
bottom
right,
of the
yeah.
chat box. Those three little dots.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Click
got it.
I
those,
don't know if that was in.
and then it'll say save chat. And
Yeah,
then after it says that, it'll say show in folder, and
in
click that and
Finder,
it'll take
right?
you right to it.
Right, show in Finder.
Folder.
Right.
Oh, yeah, show,
I thought it said Finder, but
oh,
that's
well,
right.
whatever it says.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
also to add that if anybody in any group here who is not a part of the Warheads to Windmills National Coalition and who might like to be, please let me know. Or
Oh,
Timon.
okay.
Better to let Timon, but you can let me know too.
Okay, folks, we're at the end of our time, and our next meeting is the 26th of September. I will send out an agenda. Rosalie, do we have your email address? Are you getting the
Yes,
okay, good. So look in your email, you'll see an agenda and a link.
thank you so
Um,
much.
I think I'm using the right link.
I'm putting it into the chat right now as a reminder. Oops.
Okay,
Hang on. Well, it's in the chat. Let me go get it. Okay. I'll
here,
put
I
it
think
at the bottom and that way.
I've got it.
Here
That's
it
the
is.
one, isn't it?
Here it is, right there.
Okay, bye.
Okay, and is somebody sending the recording out to us?
Yes, I'll
Peter?
send you the
Yeah,
link.
Elena's doing
Oh,
that.
good, thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks.
Thank you.
Night.